Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy book review day. Today's book is You're Not Listening by Kate Murphy. And this was an audiobook. Since it was a book about listening, it seemed to make sense that I would listen to it. And I really enjoyed it. It's not long. I think in audiobook form it was 5 hours, something like that. And it does a really good job of talking about the struggles with listening and, how we um, there are lots of quotes in there about how we have one mouth but two ears so that we can listen twice as well, and that kind of thing. And but she does talk about how we have been trained to be active listeners in terms of making sounds and acknowledgments, but often people are focused on what they're going to say next and or what kind of quip they're going to make or whatnot. And instead, and she is a reporter, and she talks about how some reporters have a story and they chase it and they wait for the answer, and when they get the answer to the thing they need, then they kind of check out. And she's like, I'm not that kind of reporter. I'm the kind of reporter who shows up for an interview and sees where that conversation goes in order to then figure out kind of what the story is. One of my favorite chapters, she talks about going and observing Terry Gross and Fresh Air. And in the interview space, there is Terry Gross, of course, having this conversation. But then there are three other kind of producer people present who are documenting the conversation, taking notes, recording the times when people said certain things. And on one level, they are looking for places to trim because Terry Gross might have an hour and a half conversation, but they have 45 minutes of airtime to kind of whittle it down. And so they're trying to do those things, but they also have different people listening because different people hear different things. And so figuring out what that conversation is and um, how to appeal to different audience members is on their mind. And so it's really interesting to think about that. She also talks about Murphy does, just to be clear, also talks about improv and how improv forces you to be very engaged and listening carefully, that you can't be thinking ahead because you don't know what direction the rest of your group is going to take the story. And so that changes. And so people who are really good at improv are in the moment, they're listening, they're paying attention. And that's why people like Stephen Colbert, make a really good talk show host because they actually listen and they organically move the conversation um, instead of forcing it in different ways. So honestly, I enjoyed it well enough and it was short enough. I'm actually listening to it a second time and picking up more things as I go about. But I would definitely recommend You're Not Listening, What You're Missing and Why It Matters by Kate Murphy. Yeah, what are you listening to or reading? Bye.